In this module, I will explain the Sheet Set Manager tool of AutoCAD, which is one of the very advanced tools of AutoCAD. And I've already prepared a sheet set for you to explain all the topics. So first I'll go to AutoCAD and I'll open any blank drawing. Alright, so there we have it, a completely blank drawing. Now I'll go to this SSM copy folder. And here I have this sheet set file. So source CAD sheet set, that's a DST file. We'll learn about that in a moment. So let's double click and it will open simply a palette here, which is called sheet set manager. Now here we have some views, the plan view, elevation, section and foundation, and these are actually the sheets which we have created. Now I'll go to plan view and look at this. It will open the plan view of the drawing. Okay, the floor plan view. Now here we have some label blocks, call out blocks with all the related information in the form of fields. You can see those fields here. Okay, also we have the title block with all the automated information. Now these informations are added with the help of fields, so these information are not added manually, they are automatically fetched from the drawing information. So we are going to learn about that also. Now in this case we have a lot of other sheets also, for example elevation, and if you do that, if you double click on elevation, it will take you to this elevation view right there. Also we have section and foundation. Now these all views and all the sheets are related to a single project, and in this case that's a sample project, our sample house drawing, and all of these sheets are actually linked to one another. For example, I'll go to the plan view, I'll simply double click there, and now look at this. Here we have this east elevation call out block. Now that east elevation call out is referencing to view number 1 of sheet A2. So if you want to find out where to look for this east elevation, then you need to go here on the sheet A2. Well, here we have this sheet A2 and view number 1. Well, let's go to that. So that's sheet A2 and view number 1. Well, there it is. So we have the east elevation. So in this way you can directly go to the view, and these are completely interlinked with one another. Also you can see a lot of other information, for example its name, the scale in which this has been drawn, and a lot of other things also in terms of title block and other things. In a similar way, if you want to see other information, for example let's go to plan view again and let's look at this. So this is the section line and the section view here. Now if you want to see where this section view is, which is represented by this line and the section call out, then you need to go to sheet A03 of view 1. So you need to go to sheet A03 and view 1. So let's go to A03 and look at this. So we have a single view here which is named as A01, and that's the section view, and you can clearly see the section line. So here we have all of those drawings open. So you can also go to that plan view and look at this. That's the section line which is referencing to this section view, and it's as easy as that. So all of these information are directly interlinked with one another using the sheet set. Now in this example I've used this simple drawing of a house project, but you can use this sheet set on mechanical drawings and even on large electrical drawings if you want. So the application of sheet set are limitless. You can use it in your respective field. Now we will make our own sheet set with our set of drawings right from scratch. So let's get started. To make the sheet set, we need our own set of model drawings, and as well as we need label block, call out block, title block, and all the other things. So for that I'll go to this folder, SSM folder here, and here we have this model drawing folder and also the title block for NCA template. Now I'll go to this model drawings, and we have these 5 drawings here. All of these drawings are made directly in the model space, and I'll show these drawings one by one. So I'll just open east elevation and look at this. So that's a simple east elevation drawing. Also in a similar way we have created all of these drawings. This is our section view, and we have the foundation plan here, and similarly we have other drawing, the front elevation, and lastly we have the plan view. So as you can see that all of these drawings have been made in model space with all the annotations and everything. Now if you want to know how I've made these drawings, then follow the practice section of this course, and in the practice section I've explained about all of these drawings, so you'll learn how to make all of these drawings. And I've already discussed some of the drawings so far, so for the rest of the drawings you can follow the practice section if I have not yet discussed those drawings. Now here in this case I'll go to this east elevation and I'll start with this. Now this is a simple drawing, and here we will create some views first, and these views will be finally used in our sheet set. So before doing that, let's go to this dim drop down, to the layer drop down, and I'll change the current layer to layer 0. And we also don't need these dimensions, so let's just hide the layer containing dimensions, which is dim, and there we have it. So that's a clean view which I actually need for my drawing. Now let's type V and press enter. That will open our view manager. Now go to new and give this view a name. Well, this is east elevation, so let's name it east elevation. Click on this box and create the box that defines the east elevation, and there we have it. Press enter, OK and OK. Now we have already created the view. Let's save this east elevation. So I'll go to save, and there we have it. Now repeat the process for the remaining one also. So I'll go to east west section, and once again just make sure dimension layer is off. In this case we don't have any dimension layer, so I'll right away jump to the view. So we enter, click on new. Now this is east west section, so name it east west section, and click on this box and just define the east west section area. OK, and save it. Now I'll go to the foundation plan, and here also we have dimensions, so let's get rid of dim layer. We also don't need the leader line layer. That's it. Well, that's an extra line. If you want to get rid of that, that's fine, else you can just leave it like this. And I'll go to view, so we enter new, and this is foundation, so foundation plan, click on this box, define the foundation plan area. So this is the foundation plan. OK, and save it. Now the front elevation, and again we have some dimensions, so go to this drop down, turn off this dim layer, then we enter new, and let's name it, define the area again. So this is the area, press enter, OK and OK. Lastly, well, we need to save it, so save, and then lastly move to plan view, and we need to hide dimensions and text. That's all we need to hide. Now I'll go to view, and let's name it plan view. Click on this box, define the plan view, and look at this, it now accidentally snapped to that endpoint. Well, try to avoid that, so I'll just click on this box again, and I'll turn off this object snap to make clean selection like this, and I'll activate it again, press enter, OK. So the plan view is also defined, and let's just close it by saving it. So now every single view has been defined, and you can now close these drawings. And if you want to see the views in these drawings, simply go to V, press enter, and look at this. So we have a view defined in all the drawings, and these views will be actually used in the sheet set. So I've got all those drawings closed. Okay, so now we have created all the views in our model drawings. Let's go and create the title block. For that, I'll go to this SSM folder, and here you'll see this title block NCA drawing. Let's open this one. Now here I have already created a blank title block with no information right now, and if you want to learn about creating this title block, then follow the link in the description, and there I've explained everything about creating this title block. Now moving on to this, we have this normal NCA title block where the length is 11 inches and the height is 8.5 inches. Also the size of this text is 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so that's the standard size which I have selected. And once again, if you want to know how to set these values, how to make them, follow the link in the description. Now I'll take it from here. Now we'll add some fields here, okay, and some other information that will be automatically populated when inserted in the title block. So for that, we need to first define the text style, which will be taken up by the field. So I'll go to annotation, and here we have this text style. Now look at this, we have annotative and standard text style. We'll create a new one. So I'll click on this A icon, and that will take us to this text style window. We have annotative and standard. Let's click on new. Now let's give it a name. So I'll name it as fields. Okay, and go to the drop down, change your text style to simplex. That's the one which I prefer. Also the height has been set to 1/8 of an inch. If not, you can just set it like this, 1/8 of an inch. Press tab key and it will just set it heights properly. Apply and close. Now go to the annotation again and make sure fields is selected here. So that should be the current text style. Now that is selected here. Let's move on and let's add the required fields here. So I'll go to field, FIELD, press enter, and let's start with the first thing here, the project name. So let's go to the drop down and select sheet set and current sheet set project name. So that's the field which you need to select. In the format, select none. We don't want uppercase or lowercase format. So okay, and place it right in this box where you want to put it, like this. Now we need project number, so press enter. That will repeat the field command, and we have this field here, sheet set, current sheet set project number, none in the format. Okay, and I'll place it here. So right now I'm getting some object snap points automatically, which I don't want. That's a distraction, so I'll just deactivate this object snap. Okay, now we have a check by field. We'll take care of that in a moment. Let's move to this other section, the sheet name and sheet number. So I'll press enter again, and here let's select current sheet number right here. Again, none. Okay, and I'll just place it right over here. Press enter again, and this time current sheet title, and okay, and that's the sheet title. Now we have a client and check by section. Let's enter that as well. So press enter, and these sections can be entered using some other options here. So I'll go to document, and here we have two options, this title and author. We'll use that. So I'll select the author, then none. Okay, and here I'll add this field, the author field. Again, press enter. Again, the same document field, and select title and select here client. All right, so we'll define these fields accordingly, and the list will be populated. Now with these changes, you can save your template, but there is one more thing that we need to add, and that's the base point. Right now the base point is at the origin, so we'll define the base point as well. So I'll expand this block panel, and here we have the base point option. Select base point and select this lower left corner. So look at this, right now I'm not able to select that because object snap was off. So select it to make it on, click on this lower left corner, and the base point is now defined. So right now most of the things must not be very clear to you. You might be finding these things confusing. That's fine. Once we start making our sheet set, things will become clear to you. And if this thing is not yet clear to you, just follow the video, and on the second time start making these drawings, so that way these things will become more clear to you. All right, so moving on, let's save this title block. So I'll click on save, and there we have it. So we're done with this title block. Now we need to create a blank template where we can insert this. So let's just close it, and we have this open drawing. So let's type UN, that's for unit. Make sure architectural is selected, inches, and that's it. Now we will define our template. So I'll go to layout, and as I mentioned earlier, we are using NCA sheet size. So for that I will change some settings here. So I'll just erase that existing viewport, we don't need it. And now we don't know the size of this sheet, so I'll go to layout, page setup, and modify, Now set up your plotter, which is DWG to PDF in this case. Also here I'll select NCA, so normal NCA 11 by 8 inches with some margins. We are not selecting the full bleed paper which has no margin at all, so we'll select this normal NCA paper, and with these changes you can simply click OK, or if you want you can also add additional settings. For example, we have drawings in different color, different objects of the drawing are in different color. Let's change it to monochrome. We want to see everything in black and white, so using monochrome will force AutoCAD to show the colors as black and white. Also make sure display plot style is checked, and with these settings I'll click on OK and close. So there we have it, the template. Now in this template we need to add two more things. The first thing is a layer, so I'll just go to layer properties and I'll add a new layer. So go to layer and give it a name, VP, short for viewport. That's our layer, and now we can add the title block. So to add the title block, go to insert, now click on browse and go to the location where you have saved your title block. So I'll go to desktop. We have the title block in SSM folder, so SSM, and there is the title block which we created. Open, and here just make sure explode is selected. So if you select explode, the title block will be inserted as a normal object, so it will be inserted in the drawing and AutoCAD will explode it as well. So now click on OK, click here in the lower left corner and look at this. So this will be now inserted. Now do you remember we have selected this point as the base point? So that's the reason why we selected this point, because now since we clicked here, the block will be inserted right from this base point. Okay, so everything is now perfect except this part here. So it's overflowing the page and the plotter margins, so we need to take care of that. And to take care of that, I'll select this stretch command. So stretch, I'll select this area and bring it inside the plotter margins. Also from this side, stretch, and I'll stretch it up to this point and bring it inside the plotter margins like this. And that's our final template. Now let's save it. So I'll go to save as, desktop, and here we need to select DWT format. Let's go to desktop again, SSM, and you can give it a name. So NCA template, and save it. Now here we have two information which can be filled right now. So these information, the information related to sheet can only be filled in the sheet set, but we can fill this information and we'll do that now. So I'll go to this application button, drawing utilities and drawing properties. Now in the title, I'll type source CAD, and in author, I'll write my own name, click on OK, and let's click on save again. So now what happened? Just look at this. So that information is automatically fetched right from that area and it is included here. So that's because of fields, and we have our template prepared. Alright, now we will create the label block as well as the callout block, and these are the blocks which are again needed in the sheet set. So we are still preparing material for our sheet set and we have not yet started the actual sheet set tool. Now once again I have a completely blank drawing here, and I'll start by setting the unit. So UN, press enter, make sure it is architectural, insertion scale inches, and that's fine. Okay, now we will create our label block in this, and once again before creating the label block I'll create the text style. So again go to annotation, and here you can see that we have annotative and standard. Let's go to manage text style, or click on this A icon, go to new, give it a name. So again fields, okay, go to drop down simplex, and you know that we are using 1/8 of an inch, so 1/8 of an inch, and apply and close. So there we have it. Now we have our fields text style defined. Let's just make the label block. So I'll go to this circle, click anywhere in the drawing area to start that, and type 0.25 as the radius. So we are going to use this circle. Now let's go to line, go to center, go to this endpoint and make this line of any random length. Now we'll add some attributes. So let's type ATT, press enter. Now the first attribute will be view number. So let's type vnum. In the prompt, I'll type view number, and the default section, I'll click on this box. So that will allow us to enter a field, and that's what we want. So I'll go to sheet set, then sheet set placeholder, and since we are adding view number, we need to select the respective thing here. So that's the view number. Okay. And now we'll add view number right here in the circle. So it should be placed in the center. So I'll select justification as middle center. Okay. And I'll click at the center and the text will be properly placed. Now press enter again. And now we'll enter view title. So we title. In the prompt, I'll type view title. In the default section, again field, sheet set placeholder, and view title, and none, and OK. In this justification, I'll select left, click on OK, and I'll click right here. Press enter to repeat it, and now we'll enter viewport scale. So VP scale, and once again here we will enter the field. So sheet set placeholder and viewport scale. Because we are using VP scale, that's the field. Again, here we'll use scale name option, not any of these. And with these changes, okay, again left, okay, click in the left side like this. So that's our label block, but we want to convert it into a block also, and in this case we'll convert it into a dynamic block. So I'll go to this create block and let's name it as label block. Pick point. Now I'll select somewhere here this point as the pick point, and there is a reason behind that. You'll learn about that in a moment. So this is the point which I selected. Just make a note of that. I've selected a point right here as the pick point. Now select objects, select all of them, enter. Allow exploding should be checked. Open in block editor should also be checked. Click on OK, and that will take you to the block editor. Again OK. There we have it. So now we are in the block editor. Here we have this line, okay, and the length of this line should be dynamic. We should be able to increase or decrease its length, and to do that I'll add a dynamic property using constraint. So I'll go to this dimension constraint, I'll add it on this line, and that's it. So now that will add this grip, and we can now increase the length of this block using this grip. So now close block editor, save the changes, and that's our label block. You can see that we can now stretch its length using the grip which we added, and we can now get rid of this, and we'll still have this drawing 6, and even if you delete it from here, it will still be there in the drawing. So that's how you can create label block. So now we'll learn to create the callout block, and for the callout block I'll start with the rectangle tool. So I'm using the same drawing in which I have created the label block. I'm not selecting any new drawing. Now click anywhere in the drawing area to start this rectangle, then type at 0.5 comma 0.5, and there we have it. Now I'll go to circle and I'll select 3 point, click on 3 midpoints of this rectangle. Now select it all and I'll rotate it. So rotate, click the center, then click on this vertex right there. Now we'll add a line here. So I'll go to line and add a single line like this. Okay, so let's add hatches. So I'll go to hatch and I'll select solid pattern. Also in this options panel, I'll make sure create separate hatches is selected. So that's an important option. Make sure it is selected. Now click on this first area, the second and third. So now we have added 3 hatches, but they will act as 3 different hatches. We have added them in a single run, but still they will behave as 3 different objects. Now click on close hatch creation, get rid of this rectangle, also get rid of this line. Now I'll go to line and again I'll create a new line that starts right from there. So I'll just drag that center, click on this endpoint and this endpoint. There we have it. So now the callout is prepared, but we need to again add some attributes, and here again we have the same fields because we have used the same drawing. So we have the fields, we already have the existing label block, so let's add other attributes. So att, press enter. Now here in the top I'll add view number, so vnum, and let's name it as view number, and the default value again field, sheet set placeholder, view number, none, okay. And since we are adding it in the center, so I'll select middle center, okay, and I'll try to click at the middle center point of the top quadrant or the top half of this circle. Now press enter to repeat this, and here we'll add sheet number. So let's type snum, and this is sheet number, once again field, and this is sheet number, okay, and middle center, okay, and somewhere over here, there we have it. Now we'll again convert it into a dynamic block. So let's go to create block, let's name it as callout block, pick point should be the center, select objects, everything, allow exploding, open in block editor checked, okay, okay again. That will take us to this block editor. Now here we need to add two different dynamic properties. We want to rotate these arrowheads. For that we'll add the rotation parameter. So I'll go to that rotation parameter, click on the center, and I'll click here and again here. So that will add the rotation parameter. And if you're not aware of all of these tools, then I suggest you to go to that dynamic block section of this course and complete that section before coming to this sheet set. And if you have already completed the dynamic block section, this tool must be familiar to you. Okay, so now we need an action. So go to action, select rotate, select this one, and now we need to select the objects which you want to rotate. So we want to rotate these three arrows only, including this parameter. Now press enter, and that's it. So the rotation parameter is added, but we want to restrict this rotation to 45 degrees. So I'll select it, right click, go to properties, scroll down, and here in the angle type I'll select increment and add an increment of 45 degrees. And there we have it. So now this will only rotate to an angle of 45 degrees. You can see these increment tags here. Now we need to add another parameter, and that's visibility. So go to parameter, select visibility, and click somewhere over here to add the visibility parameter. Now let's add the visibility states. So click on this, and we need three states, one for section, one for elevation, and one for detail. So I'll first rename this, and let's name it as section, then new, elevation, and again a new, that's detail, and click on OK. So we have the visibility states added, but we need to add the relevant visibility information. So let's go to section, and this is how the section block looks. Now elevation, and in elevation we should not have these two arrows, so we'll hide these two arrows. So I'll go to this hide, select this one, and enter. That's hidden. Now let's go to detail, and in detail none of these arrows are visible. So I'll go to this again, the hide option, select all the three arrows, press enter. Look at this. So now everything is gone from that detail view. All right. So we have our block. Let's close block editor, save the changes, and there we have it. Let's test it. So I'll select it. Look at this. We have this grip. Let's go to elevation. That's gone, the arrows, although it is not visible properly, but here it is. If you go to detail, that arrow is also gone. And let's bring it back. Let's go to section. Now we have this rotation grip, and look at this. So now we are able to rotate this one to an angle of 45 degrees. Let's get rid of this as well. And we still have that callout block and label block, but we have an extra close blank. Well, let's get rid of that. So I'll type purge and expand this, and well, this is label block and callout block. We don't need this closed blank. Let's right click and select purge. There we have it. Let's close it. And now we only have the two blocks which we need, label block and callout block. Now with these changes, I'll save this drawing. So I'll click on save as. I'll go to the same folder SSM and I'll give it a name. So let's name it as blocks and save it. So our blocks are all prepared. Okay, so let's review the work which we have done so far in the sheet set manager section. So let's go to the SSM folder, and here we have added some views in this model drawing. So we opened all these drawings and we created some model views. Then in this NCA title block, we added some fields, and then we inserted that title block in a template in NCA template. Also, we created the label block as well as the callout block. So that's all the information which we have right now, and these are all the drawings and templates which we created so far. Now we'll use all of these in our sheet set. So let's now go to the drawing, any blank drawing. So you can open any drawing, that hardly matters. And now you can start making your sheet set. So let's type SSM, press enter, and that will open this sheet set manager palette. Now in this palette we will create our sheet set. So go to this drop down and click on new sheet set. Now it will show you this wizard that will be used for creating the sheet set. Select an example sheet set here, click on next. Here we'll select new sheet set because we don't want any of these templates. We'll create a completely blank according to our own requirements. So I'll select that option, click on next. Now let's give it a name. So I'll name it as house plan. And if you want to add a description, you can do that here. So I'll just leave this section blank. We don't want any description. Now specify the location where you want to save it. So I want to save it in the SSM folder. So I'll go to desktop, SSM, and this is the location where I want to save it. So open, and the location is specified. Now I'll go to this sheet set properties, and this is where we actually set the properties and we'll actually use all the things that we have defined so far. So the name is house plan. That's the name of our sheet set, and description we left it blank. Now model view. So we have created some model view drawings. Let's click on this box, click on add, and let's add the model drawings. So on the desktop SSM, we have this model drawing. So all the drawings are in this folder. So open and OK. Now label blocks. So where do we have the label blocks? Well, that's also in SSM folder. So again, this box, this ellipsis, desktop, SSM, and that's the drawing blocks drawing where we have the label block. So open. Now when you open this drawing, you'll see this here, label block and callout block. So these two blocks will be listed here. Click on this second radio button, and now you can select the label block. So we are defining the label block. So let's select this, click on OK. So label block is defined. Let's go to callout section and add again this ellipsis, the same blocks in the SSM folder, and choose the block and callout block. So this time we have defined the callout block. So this is the callout block and the location for that. Okay. Now, is there any override file? If you have, you can define it. We don't have any, so I'll just leave that blank. Also, we have a project number section. So let's define random project section, project number section. So maybe 2568, and the project name. So let's name it as sample house, and the project phase milestone, leave it blank. That's not needed. Also in the sheet creation template, we'll define the sheet template which we created. That's an important section. So again, go to ellipsis, desktop, SSM, and this is the template which we created along with title block and the fields. So that's the template which we'll use. Then click on open, OK. And here in the prompt for template, let's select no. We don't want this to prompt for template every time we open a new drawing. OK. And now click on next and finish. Well, our sheet set is created, and you can see this house plan sheet set that's added. And now this sheet set will use all the information which we have so far created. Now to see that, go to this model view and expand this, and look at this. So all the model drawings are now added. If you expand all of these, you will be able to see the views which we have created in those drawings. So this is east elevation. Now if you hover your cursor on the tooltip, you'll see its view. In east west section we have this view, and similarly for other drawings their respective views will be visible. Now let's go to sheet list tab, which is empty. We'll add this sheet list tab, will populate the information here. Also we have sheet views tab, which is completely empty. We'll add the information here as well. Alright, so now we'll start adding our sheets. So here in this house plan sheet set, and in the sheet list tab, right click and click on this new sheet option. Now we need to give it a name, so let's name it as A01, and let's give it a title. So let's title it as plan view, and that's the title which we'll assign to this sheet. Now make sure open drawing editor is checked, because that will allow us to directly open this sheet, and then click on OK. And look at this, so this will now automatically open the sheet. Now a lot has happened here. Let's zoom into this and look at this. So all the information has been directly fetched from the fields and attributes which we defined. Actually in this case we only defined the fields. So we have the project name, sample house, the project number, the checked by section, client, sheet name, and the sheet number. Everything is right away fetched from the fields. So that's how those information are useful. So we have defined them earlier and now they are inserted here, and since we have inserted them using fields, so these information will change automatically when the related property changes, so you don't have to worry about changing them manually now. Also look at this, the same NCA template has been used with the title block which we defined. We have our own VP layer as well that we defined, and everything is here. Now we have added the plan view. So in this sheet we can now add the plan view. So let's go to model views and let's look for the plan view drawing, which is right here. So let's select this plan view, right click and select place on sheet. Now this will open this big drawing, but we need to change its scale. So right click and change its scale to 332 of an inch equals to 1 feet. Well, that seems really appropriate. So let's now place it somewhere over here. And now we don't need to add all of these information as well, because we have defined them using fields. So simply click OK and everything will be now inserted directly. So look at this. So we have the plan view, the scale, the name of view, the scale. Only the view number is not defined, which we'll define in a moment, and everything is now added. Even the drawing is now visible in this monochrome style which we selected for our template. Now let's go to sheet view and you'll be able to see your sheet which is added. So here we have the plan view, and look at this. So the plan view is also added here. So that's the view which has been added in this sheet. Similarly, now you can add as many sheets as you want. So let's go to sheet list and let's add a new sheet. So click on new sheet and let's name it as A02, and let's name it as elevations, and OK. A new sheet is added. Let's go to model view and add some elevations. So we have east elevation, right click, place on sheet, again right click, 332 of an inch. Well, that's really very large, so maybe 1/8 of an inch equals to 1 foot. Well, no, 1/16 of an inch. That seems appropriate, so I'll just use that one. So click here and I'll enter it. Now look at this. So that's now added here. Now there is one thing that I want to highlight here, and that's this label block. So in this label block, while defining this label block, we have selected this point as the base point. Now look at this. So that's why we selected this as the base point, because the base point will be the bottom left corner of the viewport. So since we selected this point here, the label block will be inserted automatically in the proper way. Also, we selected this dynamic property for this label block, and we have defined this. Now you can use this to extend its length according to the information which is added. So that's why we defined this dynamic property in the label block. Okay, so that's now added. Let's add other elevations. So we'll add the front elevation. So place on sheet, and on the same sheet we'll add that as well. So 1/16, and that seems appropriate. So let's add it here. And we can actually add one more view here. So let's try that. East-west section, maybe we can do that. So let's right click, place on sheet, and 1/16. We can definitely adjust it here. And okay. So there we have it. Now some of these areas, some of these parts are overlapping. So select them, click on move, and let's move it a little bit like this. Also, you can just select it and maybe we'll just move it here. All right, so now we have different scales here and all of these objects are now properly added. Let's just move it a little bit upwards to make room for this other information which we might add here. Okay, so now we have added this. Let's add the remaining one. We have not yet added the foundation plan, so let's make a new sheet for that. So I'll go to right click, I'll go to the sheet list, then right click, new sheet, and let's add the number A03, and that's our foundation. And okay, let's go to the foundation plan, place on sheet, 1/332 of an inch, very tiny. Well, 3/8 of an inch seems appropriate in this case. So there we have it. So let's select it, move it a little bit upwards like this. Select this, a little bit upwards like this. So there we have it. Now we have all the sheets available here. So we have the elevations, the foundation, 3 elevations, plan, and in the elevation we have also added the section view. We have not created any new sheet for the section, but if you have a lot of sections, you can create a new sheet for section and add all the section drawings in a single sheet. Now there is one more thing that we need to do, and that's this numbering of the view. So let's start with this elevation. So I'll go to this elevation drawing, and right now you can see that all of these sheets are open: plan view, elevation, and foundation. So actually AutoCAD will simply add more and more drawings with your sheet. So as many sheets as you create, AutoCAD will add all those drawings. So if you keep on creating as many sheets as possible here, so AutoCAD will simply add those drawings in the same folder. So now if you go to SSM folder, you'll see that you now have 3 new drawings: A01, A02, A03. So these are the 3 drawings which AutoCAD automatically added when you created this sheet set. So there we have it. Now let's start rename and renumbering. So I'll go to elevations, and here we have it. Now we have east elevation. Let's start with this. So right click and select rename and renumber. So we'll number it as view number 1, then click on next. Now we have east west section, which is this one. Well, let's name it as view number 1, then 2, and then 3. So this should be view number 3. So let's number is as 3, then next. That will take you to the front. Well, front is view number 2, so 02, and okay. So the 3 views are now added and the numbers are added, but still we are not able to see that because we need to regenerate it. So let's type REA, press enter, and look at this. So view number 1, 2, and 3, they're now automatically populated here. Let's go to this plan view, and you can also open this plan view drawing, then right click, select rename and renumber. It's 01. Okay, regenerate all. Well, there we have it. Lastly, I'll go to the foundation. This is foundation plan, rename and renumber 01, and okay. That's again REA, and that's again added here. So that's how you can add it. You can also move all of these viewport boundaries on the VP layer which we created. So let's move to this VP boundary on the VP layer, and you can also turn off that layer or freeze it. So I'll simply freeze it. And you can do the same for remaining objects. So I'll select the boundaries, move them on VP, and I'll freeze the VP layer. And we have clean drawing with all the views. Alright, so we have created all the sheets and we've added different views with the label blocks, and we have added different views with the label blocks and other information. Now let's reference them with one another using the callout blocks. And I'll start by adding callout block right here in the plan view. So let's go to the east elevation, and here in the plan view we'll add the east elevation. So this is the east side, west, north and south, but right now you know that, but the end user is simply not able to figure out the direction simply by looking at the drawing. So you need to add an appropriate block. Now for that I'll go to design center first. So press Ctrl 2, click on this home icon, then ENUS design center, and now we need north direction block that you'll find in the landscaping blocks, and there it is. So this is the north arrow. Select, drag and drop it here. Well, the size is really big, so I'll select it and click on scale, click on this point, and I'll decrease the size and I'll scale it down to 0.05 and enter. Well, we need to decrease it even further, so I'll go to scale again, select it and select this point and decrease it to 0.3. Well, that seems appropriate, so let's select it, go to move, and let's move it right here. Now that will specify the north direction, which is pointing in the upward side. Well, now we can go to east elevation. So let's go to east elevation, right click and select place callout block. Select callout block. So since we have already defined the callout block, AutoCAD will fetch that information from the sheet set, and look at this. So now we can just place our block, the information will be added, okay, and here we have the view number 1 on sheet A2. So on sheet A2, view number 1 is the east elevation. That's directly mentioned here, but this is a section callout. So I'll select it, click on this grip and change it to elevation. Also the direction should be pointing to this side, so select this grip and rotate it by an angle of 90 degrees. So now all of those dynamic tools are working here, and now we are able to appreciate the significance of the properties which we added in this dynamic block. So that's the reason why I created the dynamic blocks, this callout block with all of those dynamic properties. All right, now let's add one more. So I'll go to front elevation and I'll add another callout block right here. And okay, we don't need to rotate it, simply change it to elevation, that's it. And let's add the section callout also. So east west section, right click, callout block, let's just place it right here and okay. Now that's the section callout, that's fine, but we need to add a sectioning line. For that I'll go to line tool, click right here and add the sectioning line and create the tail. Well, we'll just delete this tail and we'll create that with the help of polyline. So select polyline and create this tail here. Now this tail should have some thickness, so double click on this, go to width and add a width of 0.05, press enter, and that seems appropriate. So there we have it. So that's the width. Now this section line is actually passing through the window. So if you go to the section drawing, well, if you want to go to that, you can simply double click here, or you can go to sheet list and go to that directly. So here I'll go to that east west section. So I'll just double click on this and look at this. It will take me to that section here, east west section. Now look at this here in the kitchen, it's cutting that window. So by this I can simply reference that it will cut that window, but here it's not cutting the second window which is on the end of that room. So with this I can infer the line, the sectioning line. So now once again I'll move back to the plan view, and here in this case this is the first window, so the line of sectioning should pass somewhere from here and it should go like this because it's not cutting this window. So I'll just select this sectioning line and this one, click on move, and I'll move it in the right spot like this. So that's our sectioning line which has been added, okay, and that's how it is referencing it to that drawing also. So We have now added the section. Now if you have any detail view which you want to add, then you can use the detail callout, but since we don't have that detail callout in our drawing, that won't be needed now. Now if you want to check that whether this thing is appropriately pointing to its correct drawing, then just look at that once again. So here we have view number 03 on sheet number A02, and that should be this east-west section. Well, let's check that. So let's go to A02 drawing. Well, this is A02 drawing, and the view number was 3, and here is the view number 3, and that's definitely east-west section, and there it is. That's the east-west section with its proper scale, and there we have, it's all the information. Similarly, you can just go to plan view and locate the other ones. For example, the east elevation, it should be in A02 view number 1. So again, A02 view number 1 east elevation. Similarly for the front elevation, and if you want to add the foundation somewhere, if you want to add the reference of this, you can do that as well. Right now we don't have any place to add, but in this case we'll do that as well. So let's just zoom into this area, and let's assume that this is extending way beyond this area, and this is where we have the foundation, and this is the foundation which we actually created. Now to reference that, we will first add the call out block for the foundation. So I'll go to this foundation plan, well, which we have right here, then right click and select place call out block, and let's place it right here. And okay, well, we need the detail call out, although we are not adding the detail view, but still, just for the sake of simplicity, I'll do that. And if you want to show that foundation plan, if you have the small foundation plan right here, and if you want to show it in detail, then you can add this detail call out. And now we can add the foundation plan right here instead of this drawing if you want. Or if you have added it even here, that's also completely fine, because right now it's referencing to drawing number A3 view number 1, so that's still fine. Now since you have added the detail view, you need to add the reference line in the area. So we will create this box, and this is the part which this thing is referencing to, this color block is referencing to. Now I'll go to fillet radius, click on 2 points very close to one another, select polyline and add fillet here. I'll select it and I'll give it some line type. Well, we don't have any, so we need to first add it. So load ISO dash, and let's select it, and let's now add ISO dash. Well, we need to change the properties, we need to change the scale, so 0.05 and maybe even smaller. And with the scale of 0.001 we have this here. And now let's add a line. So I'll go to line tool and I'll connect this line with this detail call out, and again in this case also I'll just assign the same line type and the same scale. And there we have it. So now this is our foundation plan. Right there we have the foundation, and this is referencing to the detail view on sheet A03 view number 1. And again, if you want to just look at that, just go to that foundation plan and look at this. So that's sheet number A3 on view number 01, and we have the foundation plan, the required foundation plan right here. So that's how different kind of information can be interlinked with the help of sheet set. And we have now our sheet set fully prepared, and we can now plot this, or we can then e-transmit it and we can send it to other stakeholders and clients if required, and that we'll learn next. So we have already prepared the sheet set with all the layouts, title block, fields, attributes and everything, and now we can get our final output as a physical paper, or in this case we will produce our final output as a PDF file containing multiple sheets, as well as we'll create a zip package that will contain everything, all the files which we have created, and that's called e-transmit. So we'll first get our output as a multi-sheet PDF and then as a zip package. So let's start with the first option, and that's called publish in AutoCAD. So to publish our drawings, we need to open the sheet set. So I'll go to this SSM folder, and here we have this house plan sheet set. So let's double click on this to open it, and that will open our sheet set. Now you can see that right now the sheet set manager is open with all the plan, elevation and foundation view which we have created. If you move to the sheet view, you'll also see all the views like east elevation, front elevation, east west section and so on. So all those views are created and we have these. And if you want to open them, you can simply double click on them and that will open the sheet directly here. That's fine, but you don't need to open these sheets in order to plot them. So you can just get rid of that. You can just close it, and even when it is closed, you can still plot it. So now I'll go to this house plan, then right click, and here I'll select this publish option, and I'll select this publish to PDF, although you can also select publish to DWF or DWFX format, but in this case I'll select PDF. Now desktop, and I want to plot this house plan PDF, but let's go to this SSM folder and we'll save it here. House plan PDF, select, and now this will publish our drawing with the properties which we have defined in our template. So all the properties of our template will be taken up by this publish command, and it will publish your drawing accordingly. And right now the publishing job is progressing in the background. So if you close that message, you'll notice that here on the bottom right side we have this plot publish job in progress icon, this animated icon that shows that AutoCAD is publishing your drawing in the background. And you can now go ahead and work with AutoCAD, and once the publishing job is done, AutoCAD will show a bubble here indicating that the publishing job is complete. So let's wait for a moment for this publish job to complete. And here it is. So we have this bubble which shows that plot and publish job is complete. Let's go to that SSM folder. Here we have it. That's the SSM folder on the desktop, and look at this. We have this house plan drawing. Let's open it. And there we have it. So we have this multi-sheet file here. You can directly see this plan view, and that's the plan view sheet. If you directly want to go to this view, then click on this plan view, and that will take you to the view, ignoring all the remaining parts of the sheet. Similarly, you can click on elevations, that will take you to the elevation sheet. And if you want to go to the respective view, you can go to east elevation. Just look at this. It will take you to the east elevation, front, east west section. And similarly for the foundation also you can do the same. So that's the publishing option in AutoCAD, and as you can see that it is publishing the complete sheet set in this multi-sheet PDF file. So that's again a great advantage. You can simply send the single PDF file instead of sending all of these drawings to your clients or the stakeholders, and they can review this drawing easily with a single PDF file. Now what if you want to send the complete set of tools here? So right now we have model drawings, we have layouts, blocks, we have sheet set file, and a lot of different stuff here. And if you want to send it all, and right now in this case I have saved everything in this SSM folder, but what if you have saved different objects in different folder? For example, if you are using template of your company specific template, then that template might be saved somewhere on the network drive, and it's not always possible to copy paste the template right in the sheet set folder. So in those cases, if you want to get everything in a single package, then you can use the e-transmit tool. So let's do that. So now I'll go to this sheet set manager once again. I'll right click, and now I'll select this e-transmit option. Now this will prompt you with this create transmittal dialog box, where it will show you this sheet view where we have all the 3 sheets that will be transmitted. If you want to see it in detail, then go to file tree and look at this. It will show you all the things that we will get in our transmittal package. But if you even want to see it in more detail in the table format, then look at this. Everything that we are going to get in the transmittal package will be shown here, and you are going to get this. Now if you want to remove anything from this transmittal package, you can uncheck right here, and that will be removed from your transmittal package, but we want to include everything. Now we have some settings here, so go to transmittal setups, and that's the standard transmittal setup which we have prepared. Let's go to modify. Now here we have some settings which you can apply to your transmittal package. So I'll only change some of the very important settings. The first one is zip. I want to create a zip package, not a simple folder. Also, we want to save it right here, that transmittal package in SSM folder. Now we don't want to change anything else, and we'll select one more option here, which is purge drawings. So if you keep this option checked, AutoCAD will automatically purge all the drawings and it will delete everything that is unused, thereby reducing the size of your file. Also, if you have used some external fonts, check this box, that's important. So that will include the font files as well in your transmittal package. Now with these settings, I'll click on OK, close, and OK again. Now it will prompt you for the location, but by default it will automatically take that SSM location, so I'm not going to change anything here. Click on save, and look at this, it will create the package. And now let's move to the SSM folder, and we have this house plan standard package, and look at this, everything is now properly included in this package. Now if you want to send all the files related to this sheet set project, then you can just send this zip package, and it contains everything, no matter where your original files were saved. It even includes the fonts now, so you can simply go to this fonts folder and see the fonts which were used in this drawing, in this sheet set. So all those fonts are externally included, just in case the recipient has no access to these fonts, so they can just use these fonts. So that's another way of transmitting your sheet set.